Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, thank you for tuning in, and to my returning subscribers, thank you for always watching my videos. Thank you for the likes and comments. In today's video, I'll be showing you how I made this beautiful gathered dress with a strap sleeve. I know this is something you would like to know more about. Please keep on watching and let's get started. If you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so you'll get notified anytime I upload a new video. Now let's jump right into the cutting and the sewing of this dress. For this style, you need a minimum of 3 yards of Ankara fabric or any fabric of your choice, and you'll be needing your zip and lining. I am starting with the front pattern. I have the shoulder line, the chest line, the bust line, the underbust line, and the waist line. Shoulder to the chest line is 8.5 inches, to the bust line is 11 inches, to the underbust is 14 inches, and to the waistline is 18 inches. I'll go in with the shoulder measurements divided by 2 plus 0.5 inch for seam allowance. I'll mark it on the shoulder line and also on the chest line, and I'll connect with a straight line. Next, I'll go in with the neck width and the neck depth. I'll use a neck depth of 3 inches and a neck width of 3.5 inches, and I'll connect with a curve. From the shoulder line, I'll come down by 1.5 inches for the shoulder slope, and I'll connect with a straight line into the neck width. Next, I'll go in with the bust measurements divided by 4. I'll mark it on the chest line, and from that point, I'll go up by 3 inches, and at the 3 inches mark, I'll go in by 0.75, and I'll connect the 3 points together to form the armhole. The next step is to go in with the waist measurements divided by 4, and I'm adding 2 inches allowance for that, and I'll connect with my curve. On the bust line, I'll mark the nipple to nipple measurement, that is the bust span measurements divided by 2. For the measurement I'm working with is 8 divided by 2 is 4 inches. I'll mark 4 inches on the bust line and also on the waistline, and I'll connect with a straight line. I'll come out by 1 inch on both sides of the dart leg on the waistline, and I'll connect with a straight line to the bust point. The next step is to mark the bust dart. The difference between the front and the back half length is 2 inches. So from the bust line, I'll come down by 2 inches, and I'll connect with a straight line to the bust point. On the underbust line, I'll mark the round underbust measurements divided by 4. And from that point, whatever I have left, I'll divide it on both sides of the underbust line, on both sides of the dart line. On the side facing the center front, I'm putting 0.75, and I'm putting 1 inch on the side facing the side front, and I'll connect with my curve to the bust point. After connecting to the bust point, I'll also connect it to the waistline like so. If there is any pointy part, you can blend like I'm doing with mine here. You don't need any sharp point on the pattern. I want the neckline of this bustier dress to start from the chest line. So the neckline of this dress will start from the chest line. Notice the way I am placing my curved ruler. I'm placing it on the chest line, and at the same time the curvy part is at the armhole point. Take note of the way I placed it and then go in with your marker. Now the next thing is to extend that nipple to nipple measurement to the top of the new neckline we have. Mark the 4 inches again and connect into the bust point. The next thing is to tighten the neckline. I'll come out by ½ inch on both sides of the dart leg, and I'll connect it with a straight line to the bust point. That is all on the front pattern. I'll cut it out now. In case you want to add a yoke to this pattern, this upper part will be useful for you. I'll cut out the parts we don't need on the yoke. In case you want a yoke for this dress, this part will be very useful for you. But for this style, I am not going to add a yoke to this dress. I am adding a strap sleeve. You are going to take note of this length from the shoulder to the point where the neckline started for the dress. This is what will help you to determine the length of the strap you are going to cut out. I have the shoulder line, the chest line, and the waist line. Shoulder to the chest line is 8.5 inches and to the waistline is 16 inches. I have a zip allowance of 1.5 inches by the side of the pattern. I'll go in with the shoulder measurements divided by 2 plus 0.5 inch for seam allowance. I'll mark it on the shoulder line and also on the chest line, and I'll connect with a straight line. Next, I'll mark the neck depth and the neck width. I'll use a neck depth of 1.5 inches and a neck width of 3.5 inches, and I'll connect with a curve. Here, I am extending the neck width to the zip allowance. I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant and I'll connect it into the neck width. Next, I'll go in with the bust measurements divided by 4 and I'll mark it on the chest line. From the shoulder slope, I'll divide what I have left into 2 and get the midpoint. At the midpoint, I'll go in by 0.5 and I'll connect those 3 points together to form the armhole. On the waistline, I'll go in with the waist measurements divided by 4. I'll mark it and I'll also add 1 inch allowance for that. And I'll connect the points together with my curved ruler. The next step is to mark the bust span measurement, that is the nipple to nipple measurements divided by 2. I'm marking 4 inches here. I'll mark it on the waistline. From the chest line, I'll come down by 1 inch. That is where I'm going to place the measurement and I'll connect with a straight line. I added 1 inch allowance for that to the waist measurement, so I'll come out by ½ inch on both sides of the dart leg and I'll connect it like so. Here, I'm extending the chest line to the zip allowance. I am doing this because the neckline of the back will also start from the chest line. Same thing we did for the front, the neckline started from the chest line. Now, I will extend the dart leg to the new neckline and take in 0.25 on both sides of the dart leg, and I will connect straight to the waistline. That is all for the back pattern I am cutting out now. Here, I'll close the dart on this back piece because I don't want a dart on the back pattern. Close it like so and use a masking tape to secure it. Now that the back pattern is just plain, you need to label it so that you don't get confused in identifying the sides of the pattern. So you can point a arrow to the top and write your side back on the side back. You can place notches on the pattern so that you can easily identify which part is which one. I'll continue cutting out the upper part, even though I don't need it in this project. For in case you want to add a yoke, this part will be useful for you. But the reason why I'm cutting it out is to easily measure the length of strap I will cut out to attach to the dress. Here I am transferring the patterns to fabric. This is my center front and my fabric is folded into 2. I added ½ inch round the pattern, so make sure to add your allowance before cutting it out. These are the rest of the patterns I am transferring to fabric. I have my back piece and the side front at the bottom. For the back piece, I added 1.5 inches to the side and ½ inch at the top and bottom. For the side front, I added 1.5 inches to the side and ½ inch at the top, ½ inch to the side that will be joined to the center front, and ½ inch at the bottom. It is important to add all the necessary allowance while transferring to fabric because we did not add any allowance to the pattern, so it is while transferring to fabric that you will add all the allowance you want. These are my front and back pieces after transferring to fabric. I'll go ahead now and use those pieces to cut out my lining. Here I've added interfacing to my front pieces, and the interfacing I use is the one popularly called stay. I have cut out my lining here also, but I did not add interfacing to the lining. You can choose to add to the lining or not, depending on your preference. I have placed the lining on each of the pieces, and I'll pin the side front to the center front exactly the way I'll stitch it. Pin the side front to the center front and go ahead and stitch with 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm pinning the lining here. After pinning the lining, I'll do the same thing to the main fabric. I'll pin it together, right side facing each other, and I'll stitch with 1/2 inch seam allowance. So make sure that the allowance you added to each of the patterns is what you will use to stitch. These are my back pieces, and I also added interfacing to the back pieces. Now I'll place the lining on each of the pieces, making sure that the right side of the fabric is facing the lining. Place it like so, and I'll go over to the sewing machine and stitch from the top towards the zip allowance. This is my front piece after joining, and this is what I have. Go ahead and press the seams flat after stitching. I have done the same thing to my lining, and here it is. Whatever process you are doing to your main fabric, you need to do the same thing to your lining also. For my back pieces, this is what I have after attaching the lining to the main fabric. I went ahead to press it properly, and this is what I have. I top stitched on the lining after stitching. It is time to face the strap to the front piece. I have cut out my strap here, and I'll explain to you how I cut it out. Here are the yokes for the front and the back, and I will measure what I have on the yoke and add the two measurements together. Now place the two yoke together like this, the shoulder matching up together, and measure what you have from the back to the front. Whatever measurement you get, you are going to add 1 inch allowance to join to the main fabric, 1/2 inch to join at the front and 1/2 inch to join at the back. And the width of the strap is 1.5 inches. Now it is time to attach it to the front bodies. At the point where you have the joining on the front piece, you are going to place each of the straps at the joining you have on the front. After pinning it down like so, place your lining on top and go ahead and stitch with 1/2 inch seam allowance. If you can't stitch both together like I'm doing with mine, you can first stitch the straps on the bodies first. After stitching that, you can now put the lining on top and stitch also. It is still the same thing. This is after attaching the strap to the front bodies, and this is what I have here. Now it is time to attach it to the back piece. Place one side of the back piece on the front piece. Make sure that the right side is facing each other. And I have already created a space on the back piece where I'm going to insert the strap. So create a space on the back piece where you're going to attach the strap and insert like I'm doing with mine, and go ahead and stitch. I'll do the same thing to the other side of the back. Make sure that the right side of the front and the back is facing each other, and insert your strap into the space you created. Now that we have successfully fixed the strap to the bodies, the next thing is to join the side. I'll go over to the sewing machine now and join the sides with the 1.5 inches allowance I left there. After joining, this is what I have. I went ahead to finish the inner seams with the overlocker, and I pressed it properly. I will set this aside now so that we can work on the down part of this dress. To complete the full length of this dress is the gathered part. To get a measurement for the down part, deduct your half length from the full length of the dress. The full length of my dress is 40 inches and I'll deduct the half length from this full length. Whatever measurement I get is what I'll cut out for the down part. Just make sure you add 1.5 inches or 1 inches for the hemming allowance. And the width of this fabric is 3 yards. I am using the whole width of the 3 yards for the down part of this dress. I have marked my desired length on this fabric. I'll cut it out now. The next step is to run a gather stitch at the top of the fabric. I'll go ahead and do that now. I'll run 2 loose stitches at the top of the fabric and I'll bring it back and show you. This is after I was done putting the gather stitch at the top of the fabric, and now I am going to pull the 2 top thread. That is what I am going to pull to form the gathers. So pull the 2 top thread and pull gently and start forming your gathers. I am done pulling the gathers here, and please make sure to arrange your gathers properly so that one part is not looking full and the other part is looking scanty. So please make sure to arrange the gathers evenly. Now I'll place the upper part of the dress on the lower part, pin it together and go ahead and stitch with 1/2 inch seam allowance to join it together. I am done joining the upper part to the lower part here, and this is what we have. Use your overlocker to finish up the raw edges on the inside and iron properly. The next thing is to prepare the back of this dress so that we can fix the zip to the back. Measure from the neckline to where you want your zip to end. I am measuring 19 inches here and I'll make a mark there. From the point I made a mark, I'll stitch all the way till I get to the bottom. I am done joining here and I have also folded the hem of this dress. The last thing is to fix in the zip. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. Please hit the like button, leave a comment, share this video with your friends and subscribe to my channel. Please turn on your notification bell so you get notified anytime I upload a new video. If you have any suggestion on the kind of video you want to see on my channel, please send a DM on Instagram at Stitchedbyesthy. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.